peace that surpasses all understanding. Peace, peace, love. Make love, not war. What do you see when you look at me? Um, a hippie dude in his 50s. Um, maybe. Maybe I'm a hippie. Maybe I'm white. Maybe I'm actually Native American. But maybe I'm a racist. Maybe all these different things. And we make judgments about people and um, uh, why, where do these judgments come from? And I remember when I was a kid, I lived in a very diverse area. Um, multicultural, and I had friends from numerous cultural backgrounds with all different colors of skin, all different hair types, um, brown eyes, blue eyes, black eyes, you know, and we were all one, man. I had some really good friends with names like Tony, with Tony and Eduardo and Peter and uh, you know, I'm trying to think of some of the Hispanic names. You know, Zaida, Zaida, and her sister. I mean, Portuguese, Italian, French, Hispanic, Italian. I mean, it was all over the place, man. And then somehow, some way, we were divided. We were divided. You can't play with that boy anymore. You can't play with that girl anymore. And it was from both sides. Typically I would hear it from my parents or my family and there was, and it was on both sides. It was on both sides. I'm not going to say who, but I was over a friend's house. They were from a very different cultural background. And I remember the mother and the father, why are you hanging around with a white boy? But I also remember hearing from my family, like from my mother, you shouldn't be hanging around. Why? Why not? Why not? Division. And it was taught to the parents, it was taught to our parents, it was taught to generations before us. Divide and conquer. It's easier to control someone in smaller groupings. So this is not new news. It's nothing earth shattering. However, my experience with growing up in my household, there was half of the family that I grew up with was Jehovah's Witnesses, and the other half were Catholic, devout Catholic. um, Zealous Jehovah's Witnesses and devout Catholics, and there was a lot of division. And I remember hearing, you know, don't, like whenever I would question a belief. Now, part of being raised Catholic, um, there was a lot of pressure from, in particular, my mother. Um, I remember she wanted me to be an altar boy. Be an altar boy, be an altar boy. It was like a one-way ticket to heaven if she had a child that was an altar boy or a priest. Yes, mother. And I went and I was an altar boy. And I remember having, at that point in my life, I was still very young, but I remember having, at that point in my life, a general um, exposure to the Bible. And I remember the verse, make no graven images unto you for the purposes of worship. And here I am, I'm an altar boy, and I'm walking through a Catholic church, and there's these fucking statues all over the place made out of wood and plaster. And people are lighting candles and kneeling down to a statue or paying homage to a statue. I couldn't understand that. That was a big question for me. And, when I asked the question, well, hey, wait a minute, whoa, here's a little kid. I remember the priest. Well, why, Father, if, it says don't make any graven images, why do we have a crucifix hanging above the altar, a wooden crucifix with a plaster figurine of a dying man? I asked these questions when I was a kid, and it threw the priest for a loop, man. He was a little, like, you're not supposed to be asking those questions. You're just supposed to listen to what we say. It don't make no sense. Don't make You just contradicted yourself. Practice what you preach. But and there were other experiences that I had. On the flip side of the family, I knew my days as being an altar boy were going to be very short lived. But there were experiences on the other side of the family, the Jehovah's Witness side of the family, that things just didn't make any sense. I mean, in turn, there's a common misconception that Jehovah's Witnesses don't believe in Jesus. That's not an accurate. I studied with Jehovah's Witness. It was in my family. It was in my face. Catholicism and Jehovah's Witness constantly. And I studied with both. I followed both at different points in my life, but I followed both. And there's that common misconception about, well, they don't believe in Jesus. Jehovah's Witnesses don't believe in Jesus. Yes, they do. Quite a bit, actually. Or they don't believe in Christmas. They don't believe in this. They don't believe in that. They take the Bible literally, Let's see. What was the big one with Jehovah's Witness? What was the big one that with Jehovah's Witness? I mean, going back to being an altar boy, idol worship, statues, crucifixes, things of that nature, bowing to the priest. Well, it's just a sign of respect. No, it's not. It's worship. I'm sorry. I'm gonna have to draw a line in the sand with you there in the Catholic realm, but if this is going to be offensive to you, maybe you should just turn it off right now. But it goes to my point, my ultimate point. So maybe you want to stick around a little bit. Let's see. In my experience with Jehovah's Witnesses, now coming to where I'm at now, it never having a loving heart, divinity, compassion, empathy, a nurturing spirit, a feminine divine. There's and from Jehovah's Witness standpoint, God in heaven, Jesus. There was always an intermediary. Much like born again Christians, you have to accept Jesus Christ as your Savior to meet the Father. There was always, and division. You're not Jesus. You're not God. There's a separation between you and your divinity. And the only way you can get to your divinity is through others, through a priest, through an elder in the Jehovah's Witness community, through, whatever, man. And the same in Catholicism. The only way you can get through to your divinity, to God, is through the priest. The priest is like your yellow pages and your telephone to God, You follow where I'm going with this? But not until I was in Jehovah's Witness, and I was never baptized because I had too many questions. But I definitely invested. I was invested. I did a fair amount of Bible study. I did. I went to the Kingdom Hall. I participated in the yearly conventions, etc. 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 I was part of that. I was raised Catholic, and I participated in Catholicism. I participated wholeheartedly in religion, in Jehovah's Witness, and One of the things that I really took exception to, um, and I'm going to lose my thought right now, right? I'm going to lose my thought. What was the, yeah, there we go. There we go. In Jehovah's Witness, whether it's friends, family, work, society, don't go there. Don't go there. Separate yourself. Separate. Division. Being pulled out of society, being separated, and from my experience, not in a healthy way. Those people are no good. They're no good. And they're going to bring you down with them. The separation and division, that we're right and everybody else is wrong. And you see that pervasively throughout a lot of religions. We're right and you're wrong, even within Christianity itself. Christian religions, Catholicism, Baptist, Methodist, Lutheran, we're right and the other sects of Christianity are wrong. Division, separation. But being told, and I remember, don't, like, when I had questions, I could only get the answers either from a baptized brother or sister or an elder if I had a question. Only there. That's the only valid, a publication, the Watchtower magazine. If you have a question about this, check out this edition of the Watchtower magazine because they did an article on it. And that was the only acceptable answer, whether it be from a baptized brother, sister, or elder. Don't look anywhere else. Don't look anywhere else to answer your question. I had a problem with that. So, excuse me. This is a terminable offense, in mainstream religion. I know mainstream religion, mainstream society. That's a terminable offense. You're smoking. He's got long hair. These judgments of division. We're all one, man. At this point in my life, I have found no reason to quit. I've done a lot of other stuff, and I don't need to go into that, but if smoking today is the worst thing I do, bring it, baby. I danced with all 10 of the commandments, man. I savored that stuff. I savored it. So if smoking's the worst thing that I do today, truly, that's the worst thing I do today, I have no problem with that within my own divinity. But anyway, you don't look there. Don't look there. Don't look under that rock to see what, no, because, and why? And this isn't just Jehovah's Witness. This is Catholicism. It's our way or the highway, heaven or hell. Are you going to, and these extremes of black and white that if you don't do what what we tell you, fear of punishment, fear is the for example, in Catholicism, the fear of hell if you are a sinner or you're not a good Catholic or in Jehovah's Witness, you're going to be destroyed. You're going to be shunned. You're going to be disfellowshipped. You're going to be an outcast. You're going to be a pariah. You're going to be an apostate. Fear. Oh, I'm going to lose my family. I'm going to lose my friends. I'm going to lose my community. It's pretty powerful, you guys. It's pretty powerful. It's a pretty powerful tool to control people. When you, and why do you need something so powerful to control people? Because we are powerful. We are powerful. And fear gets us, man. It gets us. Once I started turning the rock over and going, oh shit, oh shit, there is there is a lot of information out there in the world, and I'm not here to do your homework for you. It's not going to mean anything. If I just sit here and I read out of the teacher's manual and I give you the answers, it's not gonna absorb. It's not gonna absorb. So please, lean into your own discernment, Um, don't be afraid to click that mouse when it says, oh, I can't possibly look there because, I was told not to go on the internet. Truly, that's a real thing, man. Don't go on the internet. The only place that you can go on the internet is whatever it is, jw.org. Um, don't go on the internet. There's a reason for that, because there's things that are going to topple their belief systems. Not just topple them, crush them into dust. It's I'm not suggesting that or I'm taking a stance of I'm right and you're wrong. I'm saying that there's a lot of information in here. If you want to read the Bible and study the Bible, game on, have at it. There's a lot of good information in there, but use your discernment. Read, study, follow up, cross-reference. Don't be afraid to go on the computer and the encyclopedias and check history. Check history. What we're taught in history books, for example, and what real history is. Because there's a lot of stuff out there, man, that they just don't talk about because it doesn't fit into their belief system. Where I am at now is the information that I've satisfied those questions that I asked. I've satisfied those questions that I had with the Catholic priest and idol worship. I've satisfied those questions about why shouldn't I look under the rock. I've satisfied within myself. I got the answers I needed to find. Some of it was very uncomfortable because I had been raised this way. I had been raised with certain standard belief systems that were shaken to the core. And I walked away and I was like, no thank you. No thank you. And I took a lot of heat from family and friends, much the way they said they were, I still have contact with my family, but it's obvious to me that there's there's division. They're not, whatever, and that's fine. That's fine. Go find your own divinity. I'm finding mine. All I'm saying is don't neglect yourself. The information, that question that's maybe coming up for you, go find the answer. There is an answer for the question that you have, and it might not be in alignment, but it's the truth. It might not be in alignment with the religion that you're practicing, or the dogmas, or and it might upset the apple cart. It might. I'm here to tell you, it probably will. But if that question, that gnawing sensation that something isn't quite right here, if it looks like a duck and walks like a duck, it's probably a duck, and there's a reason that your intuition, your gut, that's another thing. A lot of times, there's quotes in the Bible that say the heart is treacherous, and I'm here to tell you, the best choices, the best experiences I've had, the most fulfilling, the most meaningful, came from my heart. Leaning into that. Well, why are they telling me don't trust my heart, don't trust my intuition, don't trust my gut? Why are they telling me that? Because they want me to do what they want me to do. And I start leaning into that, and I start trusting my heart and my intuition, and wonderful, amazing things happen. Wonderful within my own life and within the lives of people in my awareness and in my reality, in my day-to-day life, whether they be 2 feet away from me or 3,000 miles away. You know, if you've got a question and somebody's telling you don't look for the answer, that's a problem. That's a problem. And there's that gnawing inside you that's screaming to get out. For myself, what I've found for myself is that we are not disconnected from Source, from God. That Jesus was a brother. Mary Magdalene was a sister. You know, these were all beings or energies, divine beings, divine souls, divine creators. We're not separate from God. We're part of God. We're part of. And we were made in God's image, as fractals, as particles of Source, of that divine love. You know, my experience. This is my experience. I still have lots to learn. It never ends. But it has been, once I started scratching, itching that, or what, scratching the itch, and looking, I was like, wow, dude, wow, there is and it comes pretty quick, once you get on that, and this leads to this and this leads to that, and you start seeing the connections and how fear is a, fear is a commonly used tool in religion and belief systems and politics and the news and television and education. I have nothing against school teachers, but what are we teaching? What are we teaching from a very young age? Good little slave. No, you're a divine being screaming to get out. And that's truly what I believe. We're not separate from God. We don't need an intermediary. We are part of that. Open that shit up. Open that shit up. Open it. Open it. Open it. It'll come. You ask the right questions, the answers will come, I'm telling you. And it's a beautiful, wonderful place to live, having a lot of these illusions, delusions, these veils, the wool removed from our eyes, the truth shall set you. I used to stutter bad when I was a kid. The truth shall set you free. And it's for real. It's for real. You can go to these varying stages. And I'm not judging where you're at right now. Even as I was still actively engaged in those religions, I still had those questions. But I had the questions. And it's okay to have questions, and it's okay to have those answers to those questions. Don't deny yourself the truth. You're going to experience resistance, but don't deny yourself the answer that you need, that's being prompted by your intuition. Something doesn't feel right about this, ask the question, and don't rely on the people who are telling you this is the way you should believe to answer the question, because they're going to answer it in the dogma or in go find the answer independently. It's an amazing experience. And with that, I will offer you a peace and a love that surpasses all understanding. We are not separate and divided. We are one. We are one. We are part of Christ, the anointed. We're all anointed. We just got to wake up to it. It's cool, man. It's cool. Now, I'm not saying I'm woke, but I definitely got some information, that shook my belief systems to the core. And I love my life. I love my life. I love your life. It's a great place to be. Peace that surpasses all understanding. I'm rambling. And have a wonderful day. Have a wonderful day and a peace and a love that surpasses all understanding. I'm out.